Hi everybody. Today we are going to be drawing a robot. Now, we're not going to be drawing the whole thing all together. If you want to be able to draw the whole entire robot, what I would recommend that you do is draw the part that we're going to do together up in here, and then this will leave you space for the rest of your robot. So we're going to kind of do a robot portrait the way that I'm doing it. So we're mainly focusing on the face of our robot. So for this robot, I am going to start with kind of a funky square. So I am going to make it a little bit curved. So I'm going to curve this line slightly. Okay. Then I'm going to cross over. This line I'm going to pull up farther than the other one because it's not going to be perfect, because I'm thinking that my robot is made from like scrap materials or something. And then I'm going to curve up. Okay, so now I have kind of my funky shape for my robot's head. The next thing I am also going to do is I am going to add a neck for my robot. So I'm going to make a wide rectangle. Then I'm going to make a slightly more narrow one. And then this part of the neck I'm going to make curve down and curve down. So now I have the general idea, and now I get to kind of play with some of those details. I like robots because you can add so many different ideas and details to it. So I am going to make a mouth that's kind of a curved rectangle. And then I'm going to put a shape around it. Okay, so here's my mouth. Now I'm going to add some shapes for the eyes. I like making my eyes different sizes, but if you want them to match, that is absolutely fine. And I'm going to make mine touching each other in this one. Okay, so now I have two eyes, and inside I'm going to make a fairly small dot for his pupils, or hers, whichever. Maybe over here I'm going to say, hey, I ran out of material, so I'm going to add a line coming down. And then we're going to say, hey, it got bolted together, so I'm going to add some bolts. So if you don't want to add bolts and you want to add something else, absolutely fine. Or if you want to add them as a different shape coming down, that's okay too. Whatever you like for your robot. And I'm just going to keep adding some cool details to mine. To make it look more interesting, because I don't want to just leave it plain. I want it to be interesting for someone to look at and help their eyes move around my artwork, because they keep finding more details. So we'll even add some stuff in the background as well. So I'm going to keep working, and I will check back in just a minute. Okay, so now I have finished my drawing part of my robot. And what I did was I added just some extra lines, a few extra shapes coming out of the side, almost like these might be buttons on the side of its head. I added an antenna so that if there was a remote control or something, that's where the receiver for the directions would come in. Then what I did was once I've added all of my details in my robot, I added kind of this big, almost like a starburst shape, a little bit, around my robot. And then I added another line around it to make a little bit of a border. And then in the very background, I added some just straight lines that turned and went everywhere to make it look almost like circuitry. Like you would think if you opened up a computer on the chips that are inside the computers, you would see the different lines for some circuits in the background. If you don't want to add the circuit lines in the background and you just want it to be with this starburst around it, or if you have a different idea for your robot, absolutely, I would love to see what kind of an idea, but I do want to see something in the background. It shouldn't just be plain white because we want it to be really interesting and show that we are doing our very best work. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to add some color, and your drawing should have been done with pencil first. If you want to trace over it with a marker and then color it in, that's absolutely fine. Now I have finished coloring my robot, and I think it turned out pretty well. In the very background where I did kind of that circuit board pattern, I did just color it all one color because I thought that the lines were busy enough. However, if you wanted to do yours with different colors, absolutely feel free to do so. I would love to see pictures of your robots, and if you want to, think of a name for your robot and maybe a job that your robot does, and include that when you send it to me so that you can tell me a little bit more about the picture that you drew. Thanks for watching!